Hello, everybody. Welcome to the National Parents Union Nightly Restorative Check-In. As always, I am your host, Marisol Quevedo Rerucha. I am the wife to Daniel and the mother to Camerina, Emilia, and Sofia. I am the daughter of Irma Navran. I'm grandmother to Isabela Luna, Cynthia Iliana, and soon-to-be baby boy. I am the granddaughter to Camerina, Alejandro, Francisco, and Carmen. I'm also the sister to Alex, Atia, and Cameron, and I'm the very proud niece to Yolanda. It is, I always introduce myself in that way because it reminds me that I am and not just entering a space, but that I am walking in present and I'm arriving into the space. And I'm not arriving, like my arrival isn't about me. My arrival is about, and it's not just about the work that I'm doing, but it is about all of the generations before me and all of the generations to come. And I really feel and I know that my voice and the work that I do isn't just about me. It's about all of those who have poured into me and who have poured into my elders and into my ancestors and who will continue to pour into my children, just as the work is about those that we pour into. So I just want to say hello. I see Maritza's with us. Hola, amiga. Hola, hermana. Y so Angelis. And my tia, number one fan. Hi, Mayoli. So thank you for being with us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and just move into our breathing technique because I need it. And, if anybody hasn't had the chance to see what's going on in our country, I will say I believe there was an attempted coup. And things seem to have calmed down for the moment, but the Congress was not able to complete the electoral college vote. So that'll happen tonight, validating that President-elect Biden will be our president. So there's just been a lot for any of you that have been watching the news. And so I want us to transition into this time in this space because I know that without a shadow of a doubt that the guest that we have coming on tonight, Harry, who has been with us before, Harry Lopez, is a genuine person of light and joy. And we need him. So it's no accident that today's the day that he was scheduled to come on the show. So let's move into our breathing technique. And if you could put your feet on the floor, and if you'd like to, please close your eyes, take a deep breath in, release, and inhale. 3, 2, 1, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining me. And I'm just going to bring Harry right in. Let me move myself over. And my love, how are you?
I'm doing so great, Marisol. I'm so happy to be here tonight and so happy to be here with the National Parents Union. For everyone that's tuning in, so happy and so honored to join you tonight for this very special conversation on a very important day. So
So, if you could do me a favor and just remind us, because I had you on the show, I can't remember when, but could you just remind us a little bit about who you are in this world and the work, the light, and the healing that you share, and through which ways you do your work?
absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Harry Lopez. I am the son of immigrants from Managua, Nicaragua, first gen, full 100% Nicaragüense. And I'm a full-time transformational coach, life and leadership, life and business. I work with high-achieving, talented Latinx, Latinos, Latinas, Latinx entrepreneurs, visionaries, and leaders who are looking to make a greater impact in the world and create more income as well in the process. I do the work of transformation with my clients who are looking to shatter the glass ceiling for anything that they've ever for what they want to achieve and what they want to create and call forward in their lives, and do the necessary inner work to get rid of their blocks, whether conscious or unconscious, to create the world that they desire. And a lot of my clients end up being guerreros and guerreras and just anti-capitalists and leaders and people that are Latinx leaders that are really wanting to shake up this world and really make a difference and really help folks that are struggling. And so I work with a lot of coaches. I work with a lot of light workers, as you and I both use that word. And the work is deeply spiritual as well. So I don't shy away from speaking into divinity and consciousness and bringing that energy into the work, because it's so important and it's vital, especially given what's happening in the world today. It's like really leaning on faith and really standing in our power, reclaiming our power, and embodying our inner sanctuary with everything that we do, with all the hardships and the breakdowns that are inevitably going to happen in this life and in our journey. And this year has really tested us in many different ways, and so it's a call for inner work, to go deeply inwards. That's been my process, and that's the process that I like to employ with my clients as well, is to do the deep inner work of transformation. And so I like to say that transformation happens from the inside out. And so it's a lot of work on what are the inner shadows and the gremlins that have held us back for many, many years, and doing the necessary shadow work, and not seeking to get rid of the blocks, but being with the blocks, because they're going to keep coming up. They're going to keep coming up. And so, there's so much I can say here. Movement builders. I love working with people that are...
There's no one stopping you, my love. There's no one stopping you. You just keep going. You just spreading the light, please.
Marisol, I was talking to some of my clients about you, that I was meeting with my comadre, and Marisol is the woman that when you're in her presence, she reminds you of who you are, and she reminds you of your light, and she reminds you that you are worthy of sharing your light. So I'm so honored to be here with you today. So honored.
Me too. Keep sharing your light, and please talk about, I think, when you talked about doing your shadow work, and what I see with what happened today, like there are a lot of people that are not even trying to attempt to do their shadow work. But could you just talk a little bit more about that and the importance of it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people they don't know what they don't know. So we have a lot of blind spots. So folks, when they're either open or willing, or they don't know, or they're just completely unwilling. And when I come across folks in my practice that are like that, I kind of label them as more uncoachable. So I won't necessarily work with them, but I'll love on them and support them and provide resources in any way that I can. And so it's really uncomfortable to do the work. It's incredibly scary. It's confronting. And it's, one thing that I like to share with my clients is that, similar to the process of meditation, like when we go into meditation and we stand still and we're really leaning into the stillness and just listening and tuning into what's going on within us, around us, there are things that are uncomfortable that just inevitably surface to the forefront. And the more that we're putting ourselves stretching outside of our comfort zone, everything that's been unaddressed, all of our childhood wounds, our trauma, the stuff that that's been unaddressed will surface. And so the question is, how do you be with yourself when those things come up? And what's your relationship with how do you be with yourself?
Oh,
What's your relationship with the stuff that comes up for you? And are you willing to lean into courage?
Stop you really fast, because I think that is really important. You just said not just how to be with yourself, but what is your relationship with the things that are coming up? And I think that also hits on something that you just said around like being with your blocks, not just trying to get rid of your blocks or eliminate them, and definitely not pretend that they don't exist, but being with them. And this idea of being in a relationship with your shadow, being in relationship with your trauma and your pain. I just wanted to stop, because there's already so many notes that I have here of these amazing things that you said that I hope we can touch on, but I just wanted to take a minute and take that in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our relationship with them, because oftentimes our relationship is not very friendly with our blocks. We're wanting to avoid them, and we're wanting to judge them and criticize them, and we're scaring them. And whatever we push away, whatever we cast aside, we're judging. And what we judge, we lock in.
Can you give some examples of blocks?
Sure. Perfectionism, comparison. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of sharing my voice with the world. No one's going to want to hear this. Those are some of the most common ones that I see, but there's other blocks, there's other wounds that oftentimes are unconscious that we don't see. It's like sometimes a lot women that I work with will have, a mom block, like a mom wound. A lot of Latinas that I work with have a sticky relationship with some figure in their family lineage. Maybe there's a sister wound, a mom wound, a brother wound, a grandma wound. Maybe there was something that happened early on in life where they were getting a little bit too much attention. And they didn't like it, or maybe they were doing really well in school, or doing somewhere really or like speaking up and participating a lot, and told that they were a little too much, and so they learned to tone it down. And so all these ways of being that we collect in our lives, and this programming. And so it's a lot of the work that I do is about identifying what it is and bringing presence into that. So first it's identifying it, bringing presence into it, then accepting it, and then doing the necessary inner work and the shadow work around that to just free it and liberate it. And that's really what I think. That's really the desire for most folks, is to be free, just walk free, to be liberated in themselves and their bodies.
And I think that process that you just laid out, sorry, I got excited. I hit my computer. Process that you just laid out around like identifying what that block is. And that in itself is work. That in itself, I think what you talked about with the strategy and the practice of meditation can start to bring that out. But accepting that there is an issue, I think, is really huge. And then you said bringing presence to it. And I've had some really beautiful conversations with Dr. Anjali, who you need to meet one day. She does the show on Fridays, and she taught me the 4-7-8 breathing technique that we use. But she's been talking a lot about this idea of like bringing presence. So can you talk about what that means regarding this specific like doing your shadow work? What does that mean to bring presence to the issue that you're identifying, or to the block, the challenge?
So good. I see it in so many different ways, and when I talk about transformation, there's so many different ways to seek to go about transformation. We could go about somatically in the body, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. And when we identify what it is, what the block is, wherever it's coming up, and for a lot of folks that are, maybe the mental is not really what works for them. Some people they can feel it in their bodies. Like, for example, some people, when they have a fear, they'll feel some resistance in their shoulders, or in their back, or their neck, or in their solar plexus, in their sacral, in their root, maybe in the crown chakra. So just identifying where it is, and without judging it, without casting it aside, without trying to get rid of it, without avoiding it, without any kind of story or misunderstanding about what it is, just letting it be, just welcoming it with complete acceptance. And when we bring in divinity into the work, and a lot of my mentors have come from the school of spiritual psychology, it's really about, in a way, if this resonates with folks, I'll share this, or I'll share this, but seeing it through the eyes of God, through loving presence. And so having compassion for whatever it is that's coming up. And we're conditioned that compassion is potentially weak. We're conditioned that maybe compassion is just too soft, it's not going to work. But there's an intelligence to compassion, and compassion is productive. Because what we've been conditioned to do, the ego, is to want to make us judge. And when we judge the block, when we judge ourselves, we hold in the pattern, we lock it in, and it's with us, and it's not going to be freed or liberated. And of course, what we want is more freedom and to be more expansive and open-hearted. And the presence comes when we bring compassion into whatever it is that's showing up for us. Maybe it's compassion for our neighbor, compassion for a loved one, for compassion for somebody that we just don't want to love. And that's the healing. Healing is when you bring love to the pain. We just bring loving presence and loving essence and compassion to whatever it is that's showing up for us, and it'll begin to dissipate and it'll lift. It'll just lift. That's all it's wanting, is deep love. It's like a child. And, there's, psychotherapists will work with folks on whatever the blocks come up. You can name it, give it a name like Ursula, or give it a name like Christina or Charlie. And instead of judging Charlie and saying, Charlie, you suck, Ursula, get the hell out of my life, get the hell out of here, I don't want to be here. You can have presence and accept Ursula and be like, I see you, sweetheart. I'm so grateful that you're here. I know what you want from me. I know that you want to keep me safe. And I appreciate you for that. But I've got this. And I'm going to keep going on my path. So I hear you, and I'm so grateful. And I know that you're here, and you could stay here. But we're going to keep going despite this. The movement has got to be greater than whatever it is that's showing up here right now. The vision for the future, the movement, the vision, the what is it that one of my mentors called it once? Your MTP. He said, your massively transformational purpose. Your vision for what you want has to be greater and grander and so much more powerful than whatever this small block is that's showing up, that's trying to hold you back. And so there's a way that we can be with the block and keep showing up in the world. Like, we don't have to just stop everything that we're doing and nurture ourselves. We can nurture ourselves and do the work of being while doing. So being with ourselves, working on ourselves, meditating, seeing a therapist, working with a coach, going to a support group, doing your friend, reaching out to friends, your comadres, your curanderas, your healers, whatever it is, while also showing up in the world fully embodied.
And that's doing the work and being the work at the same time. Like that's what's needed, because, like, we see things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You need to have this, you need to have shelter, food, and then, about like security, and then you need to have all of this before, but sometimes like you have to be doing all of them. It's not going to be that, it's not clean. Yeah.
The mind thinks things are linear, but breakthroughs can happen at any moment. And so sometimes it's not going to look so perfect, and our life is not going to have a cohesive narrative. But when we look back, we can connect the dots to see how it all lined up, and the patterns happened, and experiences happened, and those breakdowns happened because they needed to be here in order for us to culminate in the person that we are today.
Well, and what I love about the way that you describe that, like naming that, either that space in your life, that person, that block, naming that like naming that thing that's coming up, and having that, like, you can do that, like you said, and still be moving.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, that is, you're doing the work and you're being the work. Like it's so active. And the other piece that I think is just that, like, spoke to my heart, was when you said, like, you didn't say it this way, but I think really looking at ourselves, looking at our blocks, looking at our pain, looking at all of our our humanity, like the stuff in our humanness, like the competitiveness, the jealousy, any of that stuff, right? Looking at that with the eyes of God.
Yeah.
And I think of, like, as a mom, looking at those things the way that you would looking at your child, with that love, because we're children of God, right? Or whatever your belief is. But as a parent or as a child, there's a component, that connection and that love, and the way that you want to take care of and nurture and protect, and like, but seeing yourself and seeing your pain in that way. It's such a beautiful act of love. And I want to catch up with some comments really quick. Dr. Anjali said, hey, and she refers to it as being called to presence.
Beautiful.
And so Angelis said that the key is compassion. And I think, again, the key of compassion for self and for others. And Michelle Mackin, compassion for someone we just don't want to love.
Yeah. And some people you love everybody. Some people you love from a distance. Yeah.
You know what, my friend, that is something I'm learning in my old age. And I was just having the conversation with Dr. Anjali yesterday with Anjali. I'm so grateful that I am learning to trust my instincts and know that I can really love somebody, like you said, and want the best for them and not have to be involved. Like, I can pray for you, I can love you, I can wish you the best, I can think about you in positive terms, but we don't need, like, because and that's been some of the wisdom of my years, I will say.
Yeah, and that's so loving on you. It's like you loving yourself so deeply that you know that you can love that person. You have the capacity to love that person, but that you don't need to get too close. You don't need to get too close. Yes.
Like that Tupac saying, like, it's a little bit different, but he was like, look, I still want you to eat, just not at my table. Like,
right. That's right.
Like, but do it over there.
Yeah. And I'm still working on that a lot. Like, the people pleasing and boundaries, that's like the biggest area of opportunity for me that I'm still waking up to. It's been a struggle, and it's the thing that I'm still getting bit in the back, or what's the expression? I'm still getting bitten by that, because my pattern is overwork. My pattern is to take on over responsibility. And for a lot of first gen immigrant kids, it's like I see that pattern happening a lot, where we had to be the parents so early on in our lives and caretakers for our family. And I'm super close with my mom. She's my best friend, and she's so closely linked to my why for why I do so much. But it's also learning that it's okay to put myself first, and then I need to put myself first before I can put anybody else, before I can love on anybody else. And as light workers, we're so drawn to support and to serve and to love on others, but we can't love from an empty tank. What is it called? We can't source, or we can't pour out from an empty source or whatever. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, and you cannot. And I love this. Angelica, thank you for watching. Angelica is legitimately one of the most generous spirits in this world. And you'll see there, she has this beautiful family. She is raised, I forgot how many kids she has, but all of her kids are just amazing human beings.
Wow.
And the gift she is in this world. And she's working it out over there. I want to talk about something that you and I talked about. I want to push this on you. But yesterday, or I don't know, was it yesterday, Monday, when we caught up?
Monday.
Because both of us didn't look at our calendars and know that we were meeting.
What a coincidence, though, right? Perfect timing. What a coincidence! Perfect timing.
It absolutely was perfect. It's the universe. But you were struggling, and I want to talk about your struggle, because number one, I think it's always super important for us to remember that we're human beings, and that no matter how much someone has gotten things figured out spiritually, professionally, physically, we're still human. So we all struggle. And the wisdom that you have dropped in like 20 minutes is a lifetime of wisdom and beauty and gems that I want for every single person that I know and love in this world, and those that I don't. But you still struggle. So I want to talk about your struggle. And if you're down, you down?
Totally,
Okay.
100%.
So what were you struggling with, my friend?
Oh my God. I was, in short, I was making it about me.
Yeah.
And therefore, ego was coming in and I was holding back from sharing the light. I was afraid to shine too bright. I was afraid to share my wins. I was afraid people would think que soy creído. I was afraid what people might say. And that's something that I help my clients work through, and that I'm still struggling with that's still coming up for me. Wow, what an opportunity for me to go deeper into my own inner work. And that call with you just brought me back to my truth. So I'm so grateful for you, and it was meant to happen. And I realized that it's not about me. There is a mission so much greater than me in this. And that by me holding back my light, I'm doing the world a disservice. Because there are my audience, my community, the people that love me, people in my network, the people in my organization, they're counting on me. You know, I am a leader for my community, and if I am not sourcing from within, I'm just showing up the wounded warrior.
Oof.
And I was making it all about me, and it's okay. Tara Brach says that the spiritual process is one of remembering and forgetting. And I had forgotten this truth, that it's like, the mission, it's about the mission. And, our community needs to see what it looks like for a first-gen queer Latinx male to make it, to hit, income goals that were seemingly insurmountable for somebody like me, given, my background and my family. So that's a huge win, not for me, but for the community. And I was holding back, and I was really afraid. I remember getting on our call, and I was sharing with you that I was on a call with friends, and they were all sharing their wins, and I was getting so intimidated and scared and making myself small. And we do that. We'll do that. We'll compare ourselves. We'll make ourselves less than, or we'll make ourselves better than. But in truth, we're no less than or better than anybody.
You know what? In truth, all we can do is be us.
Hell yeah.
That's it. Hell yeah. Like, all we can do is be us. That's it. And so one of the things I want to give a little more context, because it's been my struggle also. And one of the struggles that you had was like really celebrating your success from this past year. And, the National Parents Union has done amazing work during the pandemic. The work started when the government, when we all went on lockdown. That's when the National Parents Union really got, like, nos ponemos las pilas. It was the start of the pandemic, and everything, the 15 million plus families that we've reached, all of this stuff, all of this beauty happened during the pandemic. And so, like, what you were sharing, you didn't want, like, you felt weird, you felt bad and shameful and guilty about celebrating this amazing success that you've had in this past year. But, there's light and there's dark. And I really think both the pandemic and all of that dark energies and the forces that have happened last year, they want us to continue to be stuck in not sharing the light.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Just hearing you talk, I mean, wow, how incredible to hear of the National Parents Union, but also it's so revealing just hearing you grounded what I was saying, because I was still, even now, feeling shy about sharing the wins.
Yes.
And just to be transparent, I hit an income goal. We did so well in our company this year, in the last 6 months, and I got out of debt. I was $30,000 in debt. I just owed so much student loans, like, to some of my mentors and programs that I had that were accumulating credit cards, and we doubled our size in our company. And I brought on team members, and we brought on new systems and new tools. And I went back to school. I went back into a manager training on anti-racism at One Tilt, which is one tiny inclusive little thing. So it's an organization I highly recommend to everybody. It's a beautiful One Tilt. It's a manager training program based out of DC, and it was I went back to school to really deepen in the work of how do I be an anti-racist manager for my clients who are anti-capitalist leaders who are looking to really disrupt stuff and disrupt the system. I went back to school and started doing my breathwork facilitation. I started learning more about medicine, and I started learning about different modalities, and that's just the beautiful thing that you can do with more money. When you have more cash flow, you're not as in scarcity, you're really operating in abundance, and you're able to invest in different ways that maybe you never thought possible. And for me, that was what having more money brought forward for me. And it was a huge, 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 huge blessing. And I'm so grateful for it. So grateful.
You just went through that list super fast. So I want to slow down.
Yeah.
You met a financial goal.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of people in our communities in the Latinx, and I think we don't make financial goals. I think a lot of communities, we don't make financial goals. So I think number one, having the goal, but you made a financial goal. You paid off your debt.
100%, completely.
You paid off your debt in 2020. You talked about freedom. And part of the freedom of our spirit, of our soul, also includes those things that want to keep us chained to things of the earth. And you freed yourself from one of those chains. That is phenomenal. You like that. We need to have on band, like there's fireworks. So we can have fireworks going. You increased your team. So you were able to add staff, right? Mm-hmm. That are doing this work, that are doing this coaching, doing this light work coaching with people and building people and their businesses and supporting people in doing their inner work. And then also you really dove in, and 2020 was the year you really dove into the anti-racist work.
More than ever before.
How to lead as an anti-racist leader. Those are things like this. You have to celebrate you, because I have to celebrate you. Oh. And Harry, I have to. So I'm on the thing, I'm learning how to celebrate myself. I'm 40. I'll be 47 years old this year, and I'm finally doing that. And so I'm gonna need you to celebrate me too, because it's something that I'm working on. It's something. So I get it, but you have to. You have to. And like you said, there's an entire community. So our Latinx community, our Latino boys, our LGBTQIA community, but just as human beings. And also, baby, you're young. How old are you?
30.
Yeah.
You look great.
So thank you. But think of all of that you are done, and the way that you understand humanity, the way that you understand not just the ways of our world, but the ways of our spiritual world. And you're 30 years old. We need you to share. We need you to break those bonds of shame and guilt. So please continue to celebrate. What are you going to do to celebrate this? What are your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. What's interesting? A lot of my celebration ends up being back into the work. So investing in more team, investing in
I'm talking about speaking it.
Oh, maybe some sort of vulnerable post, a celebratory post about the wins and the lessons and the learnings of the last couple of months. There's been a lot there, tremendous. One of the things I realize about people that are in the service industry is that they're super humble. And I see this with my clients who are doing such phenomenal work,
Mhm.
and I see them hold back completely. You know, if I'm like maybe at 40-50% of celebratory sharing, opening up about what's happening, then I notice that a lot of the folks that I work with are maybe like 20%, and we get to step it all the way up. We get to just like totally let the masses know what's possible and that we're here. And that's like such an opportunity for light workers, is to be louder. I put that on my vision board. That word is on my vision board, is to be louder.
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
so yeah.
So this is what I want you to do, though. I want you, I'm gonna tell you what to do. So on your post, I want you to tag people and I want you to tell them, please celebrate me.
Okay.
Put that in whatever. So one of my groups of friends, I'm very fortunate to have different groups of friends that I have text chains with. And one of them, we've made the commitment that when we're feeling like we just have a word like, hey, I need you to love me. And where we just genuinely will bombard that person with the love. And I want you to tag specific people and I want you to ask them to celebrate you.
Okay. I love that.
I want to go back to this. So Anjali, she went back to the wounded warrior, wounded activist, wounded healer. And I want to, thinking about it in this context of celebration and this context of owning ourselves and our work and owning our wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think, I kind of, you know what, I kind of like being a wounded warrior, activist and a wounded healer. Like you know what, I embrace that.
Like owning it, like it's okay that this is part of who you are. This is part of who you are, and part of
It makes us who we are. My wounds are what make me human. And my wounds are what allow me to connect with people. And it's my healing that helps me support myself and others. But the wounds, like those bad boys, that's what allows me to see myself.
That's a really beautiful way to put it. I haven't heard it like that, and I love that, because oftentimes when we'll hear the wounded warrior, when I've heard the wounded warrior, there's been this energy of, oh, that's not, it's not a good place to be. But what if we were to try to totally flip that and see it as the wounded warrior is part of this, like we can embody, the wounded warrior gets to be part of the script, like part of what, it's one of our colors almost.
You know what, Harry? That's what you were talking about when you were talking about that process of going through your like your blocks, identifying your blocks and naming it, but still working. That's what that is. That's what being wounded, but it's like the wounded, like the healing part of it is connected with that. Let's see what Dr. Anjali is saying. Hold on. I see.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
Yes, exactly. That we aren't. So I think there's the combination of the healing component is in there as well. So like you're a wounded warrior who's healing, who's on like the healing, who's on that healing journey.
Yeah, we can identify. This is, oh, I love Dr. Anjali. She's so profound. Yeah, well, I need to learn who she is.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely.
Oh, this is amazing how we can see the chat, the comments coming in. This is so supportive. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah, if we can identify where we're coming from. Yeah, like who's speaking right now? Who's running the script? Is the wounded side of me running the script, or is the most embodied, my highest self coming forward right now? This healed, embodied version of who I am. And that's ultimately what I think folks want. Oh, Norma Jean! Hi! It's so good to see you here. We're friends on Instagram.
Yeah, Norma Jean, celebrate the heck out of him.
Oh.
And we talk about normalizing, like I love that word of like, kind of that movement of normalizing things, like normalizing male to male, like bonding and affection, normalizing celebrating yourself, normalize elevating other women. Like, I love that. So yes, let's normalize all of us celebrating ourselves.
Yeah, unapologetically.
Yeah.
Just share it with us. Share the wins. you know, it's welcome.
Well, and I think what's so important in the work that you're doing, um, how, ooh, talk about what it feels like when your clients, when the people that you partner with, when they win.
Oh my gosh, it's the greatest feeling ever. I think it's what keeps me in this work. It's incredible. It's so electrifying and enlivening, and seeing those wins, it's kind of similar to how I felt when I was a school teacher. And I used to teach third grade, and when your students would something would click, and you could see their minds molding and changing, and they would have those aha moments. And for me, it was like, it was astounding. And so with my clients, it's almost as though it's a partnership, but I see them almost as my students in a way. And my students are going off into the world and showing up and getting into the ring, getting into the arena,
Mhm.
and getting naked and braving the wilderness, as Brene Brown says, and then coming back into our coaching container and like wrapping themselves up, drinking their water, like stitching themselves up, putting it all back together, because they're like they've had it. And then I'm like, all right, let's go back into the ring. They go back into the ring. They're like showing up in the world in visibility. They're speaking. They're going after. They're trying to attract clients. They're going after speaking engagements. They're going after their book deals, their book publisher things. They come back. They're like, oh shit, I got a client. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm freaking out. And then they hit the next level of ascension, and then they hit the next level of ascension, and they freak out again, and they're like, oh my god, all this stuff is coming up. And then they grow more, and they're like, oh my god, this is scary, I don't think I can go more. And they're like, yes you can, you could go more. And then they hit the next level, and they're like doing the inner work, and it's scary, and it's like, oh my god, I can't keep going. And I know this because I'm going through that right now. That's literally been my process. The more growth, the
Mhm.
more stuff is going to come up, the more challenges and complexities will come up, the more of a need for inner work, the more of a need for a supportive community, to be getting therapy, to go into coaching, to be in your safe spaces, to feel held,
Mhm.
to hold yourself. So it's the best feeling in the world when my clients win. I love it. I love seeing it. One of my clients, Erica, she finished. She was in my last accelerator, and she had a 9 to 5 job, and had never worked with a coach before. Had a blog and had a TikTok. I think she had about 40,000 followers on TikTok.
Mhm.
And so we worked together. She started her coaching business, and she works with Latinas.
Mhm.
And she left her full-time job like within a month after the program. In just 4 months, 3-ish months of working together,
Mhm.
she had sold out a group coaching program. She had left her full-time job. She now has almost 200,000 followers on TikTok. Just did a live with Luis Fonsi.
Ooh.
That's one of many wins. Like,
Mhm.
you know many of the clients I've worked with too. So it's been such a rewarding process for me.
Mhm.
So rewarding.
Let's talk about 2021. So we're 6 days in, but what are you looking towards in this year? What is your work? What is your word? What is it that you're looking at for this year?
Yeah, I my word is wild. Don't know why, it just came to me in a meditation. Wild energy, wild possibilities, just to get out of my comfort zone, whatever the word wild means for you.
Mhm.
uh, for me, it's just opening up,
Mhm.
and enlivening, and excitement, and a radical, unapologetic, unimaginable joy into my life. That's what I want for 2021. And I like the idea of folks really, really honing in one word for themselves, whether it's expansion, whether it's joy, whether it's maybe your word is yes. Maybe
Mhm.
your word, for some folks, maybe their word is no.
Yeah.
Maybe your word is boundaries. Maybe your word is um, uh, abundance. I'm not sure if I already said that.
No.
And so just honing in on that and centering it on it. And the mind thinks in images. So if you can associate an images with whatever your word is, or whatever your intention is for the word, it's going to take it to the next level. And we're emotional beings, so we're able to connect it with something emotional that we're looking for in our lives. Like abundance is what's the emotional part to abundance? What's the emotional side of wild for you? For me, the emotional side is just feeling so freely liberated, where I'm able to just juice up and soak in the wonders of the world and just enjoy life, enjoy myself, and enjoy life. Feel good while doing everything that I'm doing. So yeah, what's your word, by the way?
I'm gonna think about it. So I don't have one, so I need to think about it.
Okay.
There's not one immediately that's coming to mind, but I'm gonna think about it. Because that idea of having an image also for the year, I've really learned a lot from other people's goals. I
Yeah.
talking about like goal setting and vision setting because I learned so much. So one of my dear friends, hers from last year was living guilt free.
Mm.
And it was just really really beautiful, and seeing how that kind of came out in her life and how she held on to that as someone who was like the primary caretaker. She was primary caretaker of her mom, the youngest sibling, takes care of her daughters. Her mom passed away last year. And so, and then like now she's, been cleaning out her house and rebuilding her and like doing it without that pull, that she shouldn't be taking care of herself, or that she shouldn't be taking, that she should be putting that energy on her kids or somewhere else. So, and one that I will always continue to hold on to and talk about is my comadre's dad. He had, a couple of years ago, we were meeting for vision boarding, and he said the only goal that he ever has is to practice loving kindness and nonviolence towards himself and others. And that just always, whenever I start getting kind of caught up, and especially like not being nice to myself, like that violence that can come from not taking care of self and not loving self. So I'm gonna think about it. So what has your advice been to your clients? So moving into 2021, one of the things you said, like pick your word, get an image for it. But I think what you talked about with your client, your TikTok client, I forgot her name.
Erica.
I think a lot of people feel that, like wanting to leave their 9 to 5, or wanting to leave their career, or wanting, like, they have that. I know I had it, but having that feeling that like there's something else that they're meant to do in the world, and they're close, but they're not quite there. So what is some advice that we could get from you? We need some free coaching,
Totally.
some free Harry coaching for people that are listening and might be feeling that way, like they know they need to be doing something more different, and this is the year.
All right. And this is so beautiful. And oftentimes folks think, what do I need to be doing? What do I need to be doing? What is it that I need to do? But what I want to offer to folks is let's move away from doing, because we're so good at doing. We've been conditioned to do our whole lives. Who do you get to be this new year? How do you want to be this new year? What are the qualities that you more fully want to embody in your life this year? Maybe it's presence, maybe it's loving kindness, loving essence, being the embodiment of love. Whatever that is for you, hone in on your words, those those qualities that you want to embody, because so much of it is embodiment. Most of my work as a business coach is 80% embodiment and mindset, 20% strategy and systems and those technical things. But it's really about our ways of being, and that's really from an ontological standpoint. It's like, how are we being in the world? And for some folks, they don't know. And so what I offer to folks is, who are people that who are folks that you're inspired by? Who are some role models for you? Or in the realm of manifestation, they use the word expanders. So who are your expanders? Who are the expanders, or the people in your life, in your realm, in the world, that maybe you follow on Twitter or social media, or on the news, or on television, and you're keeping up with, and there's something about the person that you're inspired by, that just, there's something about them. Maybe it's John Legend, maybe it's J-Lo, maybe it's Michelle Obama. What are the qualities of those individuals that really speak to you? And whatever it is that you're inspired by in them, is only a reflection of what you have within you. So
Mhm.
there's a knowing, there's an intelligence there. It's like whatever they have, I have within me. It's just seeking to be activated, and we're so malleable. Like we can alter our subconscious thinking and our neurobiology simply with our thoughts. And so let's capitalize on what are the ways of being, the qualities first. Who are those expanders? In the realm of manifestation, they say get as close to your expanders as possible. Go see if you can get on a call with them. See if you can shadow them. See if you can whatever it is, learn about them as much as possible. A lot of folks read. A lot of folks were really inspired by the autobiography of Malcolm X. So they're reading and studying their profiles of humans that they want to aspire to be like. I'm really inspired by writers. Oh my goodness, Elizabeth Gilbert. I am obsessed with her. Like any podcast that she's on, I'm listening in. Every book that she's not every book, but almost I've read so many of her books multiple times. Like there's ways of being about her that I'm so inspired by, and her connection to divinity and spirituality is like, and oh my gosh, writers usually. And you ask me who do I get nervous around? Spiritual leaders. Spiritual
Mm.
leaders.
And they're the ones that you should really be the least worried around, right?
I know,
But
but I go like I get like I become like a fangirl. I'm like, like if you showed me a celebrity, I don't know who the biggest celebrity is right now, I'd be like, okay. But if you showed me one of those spiritual healers that I have been obsessed with for so long, I'm like, and entrepreneurs, I'm so deeply inspired by entrepreneurs, particularly conscious entrepreneurs that are deeply connected to spirituality and walk with faith and walk with love and everything that they do. That's something that I'm really inspired by. So what else? Okay, the word, an intention. You talked about I am loving presence. I forgot who it was, but a
yeah.
mantra maybe could really help. And I was talking to Kathy and Jensen Cheryl. She's the author of You're a Badass and You're a Badass at Making Money. She now has a book called Badass Habits.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another really good one for folks to check out is what are the habits that you're going to be looking at for this year? Because so much of our experience, so much of 2021 is going to come down to your habits, your thoughts, your routines, your ways of being, however it is that you're programmed, that's going to really create your 2021, all of the stuff that's coming up. Yeah. Yeah. I hope. Oh, I'm so glad to see that this is supporting y'all. This is so good.
I just want to I want to reaffirm that what you said about the expanders. And so I fell in love with the Crafty Chica, with Kathy Cano Murillo. I saw her, I was like, oh my God, there's this Latina who is selling her craft stuff at Michael's. Like who, I think I caught her like at the end of a segment on a morning show. And so I started following her and I had started sewing. And I just was like what you talked about. She was an entrepreneur. She's so creative. Her work is beautiful. And, the stuff that I had seen, her energy and her spirit is so genuinely beautiful and kind. And I made the decision to go on her art retreat. And that is where, and so actually, no, before that, I did a coaching session with her. She used to offer like this July coaching special, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I just like, I have a picture of like us talking on Zoom and like took the picture so when I first saw her in the art retreat was in Mexico. Oh my goodness, like I was fangirling like you would not believe. And and I totally fell in love with her family. But that is where I met also Eliana, who's become my goddaughter, where I met Curly, and Maya, who I didn't like. I didn't know who they were, like in the sense of like I didn't know that they were influencers. I didn't know, like I was all about Crafty Chica. And the other women that were there, and I called Kathy's husband my homeboy. Such a beautiful soul. But the women that were there, it was such a beautiful experience. But it was by connecting with her and in that genuineness, like she's one of my friends and I've stayed in her home. And I don't fangirl as much anymore. Sometimes I do. I'm like, oh my God, I was at Target buying magazines with Crafty Chica. Oh my God. I was at Target with her. We were looking at Oprah old magazines together.
Oh.
But doing that, that's how I met you. I met you through Ellie.
Ellie, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that thing about like connecting yourself with people that inspire you and figuring out how to do that, like because me, I was like coaching, but that whole thing, it has brought so much joy and love and beautiful relationships in my life. And I think part of that is what you said. It's that like you're connecting, there's something there that is within you that you have that desire to connect to. And connecting with her connected me with the gifts that I have from that, from meeting her and going to the art retreat. There's nothing in this world, right, that could ever repay for that. So I just need a like tag team on the importance of that.
So important. So important. And oftentimes folks will be inspired by humans and never think they're worthy of reaching out. So I love that you were courageous enough to get near her, to put yourself into a coaching container with her, or to get on the Crafty Chica retreat. And I thought y'all knew each other forever. That's why I'm surprised to hear this, which is amazing. But you both have such an incredible energy, such super high vibrations, and um, yeah, I think getting around your expanders is really important, really powerful. And beyond that, I think then you could start getting really granular and start thinking about your targets. So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So in thinking about 2021, you have your personal, you want to compartmentalize your personal and then your professional, Harry as self and Harry as the entrepreneur. And so as my Harry as self, I have my goal. It's going to be to get a book deal for 2021. That's my goal for 2021 is to get a book deal. Yeah, and then then you have your entrepreneur business goals, and you want to hit your critical number. You want to set a target goal, and a lot of folks have resistance to this, but it's very helpful from for your business is when you have a target goal for your business is how much you want to make by the end of the year, and then you backwards plan quarter, month, week, day, and that really supports you. And some folks are not interested in the income, but even if you're not, it's still powerful because social impact equals margin plus mission. You can't have social impact without the money.
Yeah, that
So,
is.
yeah, I mean, I come from nonprofit. I come from the world nonprofit. I was not interested in making money before. I just wanted to make an impact. But margin is important. It's both together. You can't have impact without it. You can't have money without impact. Is profit without purpose is pointless. So you want both, the 3 Ps. And so it's really important to think of it that way. But then you can also have your impact goal. Like how many people do you want to serve with your business and your company? How do you want to give back? How do you want to do philanthropic efforts? Do you want to do charities? Do you want to do fundraising? Do you want to do whatever it is like yours? Check off those buckets for yourself. And a lot of folks have some level of trauma, I would say, or something with goals. And so, or what is it that they call them? The New Year's resolutions. So I say create intentions.
Yeah.
Or targets for yourself, intentions for yourself for the different areas of your life. Maybe you set your intention for your health, and what you want to create there. Set your intention for wellness, for creativity, for self-love, for self-care, for relationships, and get really specific, especially in every area. One of the things I see hold back a lot of people, especially in business, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so they're just not specific enough about what they want. So I challenge everyone to get really specific to the T about what you want to create in 2021. Get really specific. And a lot of folks don't get specific because there's a worthiness component. It's like, oh, I'm not worthy of getting that specific. Or if I get too specific, I'm holding myself back from other opportunities or whatever. But no, you want to get really, really specific. And one of my mentors is the founder of Chakra School. And he talks about this book. What is it called that he wrote? Oh, it's Psycho. I wrote it down. mm, psycho cybernetics, about how so many of the the most successful people in the world, they have gotten really good about visualization, like daily visualization, and they ground their days in visualization in very specific imaginations for the life that they desire for themselves. So maybe incorporate this into your morning routine or some part of your routine during the day at some part, but visualize the future that you desire for yourself and see yourself there as if you were already there, as if it's already yours, even if it's 30 years out. So whatever it is, maybe it's you want to be a millionaire. Already start embodying being a millionaire now. See yourself as a millionaire. What are you doing? What is life like for you? Who are your people? How are you celebrating yourself? What are you being like? How are people being with you, etc., etc. Um, I think it's a call for us to go inwards and to dream big and to not hold anything back, because the mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imaginary. And so we can really trick the mind. We can visualize the most incredible vision and future, dream life for ourselves. And we can just continuously plant that seed, water that seed in that garden in our minds. And lo and behold, sooner or later, it's happening and you're there and you didn't even realize it, but you've called it forward into your life. And so, yeah, that's more of the manifestation stuff. But there's so
that
much to it.
so beautiful. So I just want to I'm just going to go through really quickly, and then if I get a chance I'll type it up and add it to one of the things of this recording. But one of the first things you said is to think about not just, hold on a second, did I write this on, like, it's not about what you want, but who you are, not what you're going to do, but who you want to be, and to think about those people that inspire you, the things about them, the values that you want to embody in this world, the way that you want, like how you want to move in this world. Identify, be very clear about a word, potentially an intention or a mantra. Develop habits. You recommended Jen Sincero's new book. And have both personal and professional targets. Be very clear and very specific. And it is also, I really heard you say, like, think about having some financial targets, because really, that's how we move in this world. That's the exchange. That's how we get things. So it's very real. And just being really specific and visualizing the life that you want for yourself and who it is that you want to be in this life. That visualization and that thinking are what is going to get you there.
Yeah, I mean, I was living in LA and I had on a piece of whiteboard paper or chartboard paper that I would be making $250,000. And I didn't know how I was going to make that. And I didn't have it. And I wasn't even anywhere close to that. But every morning and every night I was meditating and I would recite my intention, my goal, my abundance goal. And I was rooting myself in abundance. And I was pairing it with this really beautiful, deeply loving Kundalini meditation that just had me just like burst open. And I was doing my mala meditations, and I was going through my mantras of I am beautiful, I am safe, I'm worthy, I'm abundant. And I was just going through those every single day. And it's incredible what you can call forward. And 6 months later, I eliminated all my debt, and we doubled the size of our company. We brought in new team members, and there's just incredible things that can happen when we harness the power of the mind.
Yeah, and I just want to address this before we go. We're running a little bit over, but it's okay. So Sarah Bryant said yes, but we have to make sure that it's doable and within reason. I find when I'm specific, but it's not within reach, it won't happen. Then I get down on myself. And I've learned from this, though, which is good. I'm glad that you've learned. What one thing that I have to say, and I think what you're talking about just in regards to that, it does, we do have to be realistic with ourselves, but we have to continue to take action. We have to keep doing. So, whatever it is, that thing that you want, or if you feel like it's way over here, like it's something that is so big, like I want to make $1 million this year. So maybe it's not this year, but you're working to, are you going to be down on yourself if you get to 400,000 $400,000 400,000 as opposed to $1 million. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's part of that. Like you just keep working towards it. Do you have any advice for her before we go?
Yeah, that's such a good one, because the mind wants to keep it really rational, and
Yeah.
the heart is like, what does the heart want, right? We could journey into the heart and like play, and so you could create stretch goals for yourself. So maybe there's like a good, great, best, good, great, or better, and you create different income goals based off of that you could stack. So it's like, oh, maybe my best goal is like 250K. And then maybe the great is 100K. But maybe if I hit 80K as an entrepreneur my first year, then I've done it and I feel good about myself. And you reward yourself at every level. And of course, this is just for income, but it's the same everywhere else, right? But I would say do something that feels at your edge, something
I
that feels out of your comfort zone.
good. So like for me, when I left the educational system, for me, good was I just need to make sure that I'm replacing my salary. Like
Yeah,
that was good.
that's real.
My great was anything over that, and the best is what so I love that, and that you can apply to any of the goals that I think, like Sarah said, maybe you're worried that you're not going to get to that best, but then like think about that evolution of self. I love that, and I love you, and I am so grateful that we had this time together, and I want you to come on every single day because I love you so much, and there's wisdom.
I love you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you to everybody that was tuning in. This is so beautiful. Any chance to be with you, Marisol, is such a treat.
Well, you'll get the invite to come back. Bring you back. I'll bring you back early summer, maybe late spring.
All right, I'm down. I love you too.
Okay, everybody. So tomorrow, just a reminder, we have the town hall tomorrow. And speaking about expanders, Dolores Huerta is going to be our keynote speaker and will be in a panel that is led by our parents and community members. And we're also going to have 2 educators talking about what parents can and should expect from schools. So the town hall, absolutely free. Membership to MPU, absolutely free. So please make sure you join, register for the town hall, and have a beautiful night. Know that you are loved and know that you are cared for. Are we smiling?
Yeah, smile. Right, 1, 2, 3. I love it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.